If you're in a Shopify store, I can almost guarantee that growing your sales feels harder, more unpredictable, and more expensive than ever. And that's not because Shopify has gotten more complicated. In fact, it's never been easier to run a Shopify store. It's because founders are focusing on the wrong thing. They're trying to find the magic bullet that's going to skyrocket their sales. For the last decade, I've been scaling Shopify stores for brands like Superdry, 2XU, Petstock, and my own brands, Fight Gear Direct and Dose, and we turn over millions of dollars every single year. And when I get approached by founders as to why their sales have stalled, the patterns are exactly the same. Their sales go down, so they spend more money on ads, and the ads don't work, so they stop and they try a brand new strategy thinking that's the magic bullet they're after. But honestly, the magic bullet doesn't exist. I'm sure you can relate. You've tried a strategy and it didn't work. And it's not that you're bad at marketing, and it's not that you did the strategy wrong, it's because your fundamentals are broken, right? And no matter what strategy you do, they're not gonna work until you get those fundamentals right. And if you get them right, every strategy works. So in this video, I'm gonna take you through the 5 non-negotiable fundamentals that you need to implement in your Shopify store before you do anything else. And if you implement these, your sales are gonna become more predictable, your strategies are gonna work, you're gonna waste less money on marketing and get more time back in your day, and your sales are gonna grow. So let's start with non-negotiable number 1. You need to create an irresistible offer. And this is where Shopify marketing actually starts. It doesn't start with ads or SEO or email or anything like that, because if your offer is wrong, no matter what you do, it's just gonna make the problem bigger. Now, the offer isn't necessarily just your product. It's a combination of things that make up the offer. It is the outcome of what your product does. It is why they should buy it from you. It is how fast are they gonna get the product. It is you removing any risk from it. And it's you crafting your page in such a way that they feel like they're winning when they buy from you. You want the visitor to look at your store and be like, I have to buy this thing now. If you get this wrong, then no marketing is gonna work, because the offer is the place where the customer makes the decision to say yes or no to buying your product. Your job is to build the offer in such a way that they have no option but to say, hell yeah, I want that product. Then all the marketing that you do after you've created the offer is revolving around that, and you drive all the traffic to it, and we're gonna see much better conversion. So let's craft this offer together. To craft an irresistible product offer, it must have these 5 things. The first one is you need to clearly articulate your product outcome. Now, I don't mean writing a really long description, war and peace about why your product is great. I'm talking about a 1 to 2 sentence little pitch at the top of a page that says, if you buy this thing, this is what's gonna happen. People need to know instantly when they're looking at this page what the product's gonna do for them. Number 2, you need to identify your uniqueness. You need to say why your product is different to another product that gives the same outcome. Is there some sort of proprietary method they use, some ingredient, some material? What is it that they choose yours over theirs that makes yours better? And you really need to lean on that. And I don't say uniqueness being, something really generic. We have the best customer service, we have the best quality ingredients. Anybody can say that. You need to be something that's exceptionally specific that nobody else can do, which makes yours a hell yes and not a maybe. The third one is you need to remove the risk of someone buying from you. If someone is buying from you for the first time, there's a little bit of risk, right? They're thinking, is this thing gonna fit me? Is it gonna do what they say it's gonna do? Is it gonna arrive on time? What happens if I don't like it? Will I get my money back? These are all questions that need to be answered in their head. So you need to come up to the answers to those questions. What are the things that people ask you? Is there a size guide? Is there a return policy? Is there a free trial period? Can I send my product back? Can I get another one? All those sorts of things. We need to answer those questions clearly and articulately in your product page. Number 4 is the speed of result. How fast are you going to be able to give them the outcome that they want from that product? And in e-commerce world, that is, how fast can we deliver it, right? So if you think about Amazon have a strategic advantage. They can deliver things super fast. So most people choose Amazon because they get things fast. And it's not because they need it fast, they just want it fast. I'm gonna buy something that I need for next week, but if Amazon give it to me today or tomorrow, why wouldn't I choose them, right? I get it straight away. But as small brands, we don't have the logistics network that Amazon does, and we can't guarantee 2-3 day delivery. But what we can do is work with things that are in our control. We can work with how fast can we dispatch the order? How fast can we package it and reply to people? And we can amplify that on our page. So one thing that we do on our store Dosed is that we say same day shipping. We'll dispatch within 24 hours of placing the order. We have a little green light that flickers so they know that as soon as they place that order, it's gonna go out that same day or next day, which means they get that instant gratification. And then they know it goes into a carrier and it might not come through as quickly. But just by knowing that we're going to dispatch it quickly, it's increased our conversion rate by over 50%. And the fifth part of framing your offer is you need to show proof. It's all well and good that you can say that my product does this and, I'm going to remove the risk and, I'm going to get it to you really fast and it's unique. But people will believe other people. They're not going to believe the brand. So this is where we need to install things like product reviews, user-generated content, the product that is in use, any sort of awards that you get or any, credentials that you have. You need to put that on your product page. And if we can do all those 5 things and craft our offer, then you're going to answer every question that someone has. And it's going to be with a yes. And they're going to be a hell yes, I need to buy that product. But in order for them to buy that product, we're going to have to get them to the store first. That's where we're going to move on to the next non-negotiable. And that is number 2. We need to treat our content as fuel for our business. Content is the fuel that powers the internet. Think about what you do every day. You consume content all day, every day. And I'm not just talking about sitting on social media, scrolling TikTok or Instagram. You're consuming content in emails and in blogs, in videos, in YouTube videos, right? The internet is fueled by content. So your job is to create the right content to fuel the internet to drive traffic back to your business. And I'm not talking about creating content that has to go viral, get thousands of views, or post 5 times a day, because content's job is really, really simple. It's there to answer questions. It's there to build authority, to give brand recall, to build familiarity. And its job is to really shorten the time from when someone first sees your brand to when they purchase, because you're nurturing them and you're speeding them up to make a hell yes decision, right? It's the reason why 2 stores with the same product and run the same ads and the same strategy get completely different results. One doesn't focus on content, or the content they use is a little bit crap, really, where the other one really focuses down on content. They know what their audience wants and they know the right content for the right time for the right person. And they know their ad's going to convert because they've done the work beforehand. So to get content right in your business, you need to think about, what purpose does my content serve? And to do this, I'm going to use a framework that Eugene Schwartz came up with in the 60s. And it's called the stages of awareness. And there's 5 stages. The first stage is the unaware stage. And this is where the potential prospect doesn't even know that there is a problem and that this problem exists. Let me give a little example of what I mean by this. So let's just say you're a shampoo brand. And you're a natural shampoo brand. And if you use shampoo on your head and you rub it in, there's chemicals that go in through your follicles, and you've got chemicals going into your body if you use traditional shampoo. But if you use a natural shampoo that has, natural ingredients and you put it on your head, you don't get those nasty chemicals and there's no toxins in there, right? But I wouldn't even know that that's a problem. Well, not only because I've got no hair, but I didn't realize that shampoo could put chemicals in your body. So I'm unaware of that problem. So if I ran that natural shampoo brand, I would create content around education around the chemicals that are in shampoo. And that's the unaware stage. The second stage of awareness is what he calls problem aware. And this is where a potential customer, they are aware that this problem exists, but they don't know any solution on how to solve it, right? So this is where you create content where, you highlight the pain points and you can relate to the person and you show empathy, right? And it's bringing them down from unaware to aware and showing that you're the one that knows the problem, right? And that's when we move them in to the next stage of awareness, which is stage number 3, and it's called solution aware. And this is where they now identify that there's a solution, right? They know that your product exists, but they also know lots of other products exist at this point, right? There is a solution to their problem and they're just not sure which one to choose. And this is where we start creating content that you know about that solution, you know how to solve it and all those sorts of things. And it starts to put your brand on the radar. And then that moves them down to the 4th stage of awareness, which is becoming product aware. They're now aware that you have a product that can solve that, right? And it's your point now to talk about the features and the benefits of your product so they can really deep dive to see whether or not your product is actually going to solve the problem that they're aware of, right? So they're now comparing you to other people on your features and the benefits. And that's where it moves us down into the 5th stage of awareness, and that is the most aware. And this is where you've got to lean on your offer. This is where you've got to talk about your uniqueness. You've got to talk about any sort of urgency that you have in place and how fast they're going to get it and why you're different. So if you use these stages of awareness to really frame the types of content that you're doing and you create content that has an intended outcome, an intended sort of funnel, we're going to really shorten the time from when they see your brand for the first point and then they decide to make a decision from problem unaware to must have, right? We want to make them say yes. Then what we do is we measure the success of it, we reiterate, we make new content, and then that will move us on to the 3rd fundamental non-negotiable of Shopify, and that is mastering one acquisition channel. This is where most founders make their job harder than it needs to be. You see, every founder I know wants to do everything. They want to do meta ads, they want to do Google ads, email marketing, SEO, social media, influencer marketing, TikTok live, everything, right? The problem with that is it dilutes their focus and it overcomplicates their business and it becomes really hard to run. Think of it this way. If you're doing 10 things and you've only got, a certain amount of time in the day, you're going to have to split that time up across those 10 things, and you only become 10 to 15% good at each one of those things, right? Which means you become a generalist and you don't become a master. Whereas the stores that are absolutely crushing it and the ones that scale are the ones that, absolutely obsess over one thing. They go 100% all in and they become an absolute ninja at that thing. Let me give you a little example. We have a member inside the Ecom Academy that I personally mentor, and he started with us when he was doing around 15 grand a month. He's now doing $350,000 a month. He has a team of 4. He's highly profitable and he probably works maybe 5 hours a day. Now, he only does one channel, and it's Google Ads, but he is an absolute boss at it. Now, yes, he could throw on a meta ads channel now with the sort of revenue he's doing, but that's going to add an additional layer of complexity. He's either going to have to learn meta ads and spread his time from Google Ads to meta ads, or he's going to have to add another staff member, and that adds more time to his day, and it just doesn't fit his lifestyle. But by nailing this one channel, he knows it so well that he can scale his business to the moon just on one channel. So now your job is to choose the right channel for your business, but not every channel is fit for every business. Let me explain how you're going to choose, right? So there's 2 types of traffic sources that I like to think of. One is, capturing demand, and the other one is generating demand. Demand capture is where you advertise to someone who is aware of a problem and they're actively looking for a solution. So what you need to do is grab that content and put it in front of the person at that time. Now, demand capture channels are places like Google ads or Bing ads. They could be places like AI search, areas where people are searching for the solution. Generating demand, on the other hand, is more of the unaware people, or maybe people that are problem unaware, and they don't know the solution. And these are usually visual. So this is where we might do educational content, we might do the empathetic content, we might do informational content, things like that. Now, demand generation channels is where we want to try and get someone's attention and we want them to look at our product, okay? So this typically needs to be visual. It's often videos or, images or photos or quotes or carousels, things like that. So the channels that lean into that are channels like Meta or Instagram or TikTok or video ads, things like that. And so what you need to do is, of those 2 options, which one is right for you? Is it capturing demand? Are people actually searching for it? Or is it generating demand? Do you need to make them aware that your problem exists? And then when you nail that, this will drive the traffic to your store. But what do you do if you send them to your store and they still don't convert? Well, that's what takes us on to the next non-negotiable. And that is, if you can't convert, then you need to capture. So you've spent some time building your offer and you've got all your content right, and traffic's now coming into your store. So the next logical expectation is that everybody's going to buy. Well, I hate to break it to you. Even for great Shopify stores, the average conversion rate is only like 3%. So if I put that into numbers, of 100 visitors that come to your store, only 3 are going to buy and 97 leave. Now, the mistake that most people do is they focus on that 3%, and they try and make that go higher. What they forget about is the 97 people that left. Now, you spent time and money getting into that store. We don't want to lose them. So this is where the strategy that we teach, capture or convert, comes into play, right? So if we can't convert them, what we need to be able to do is have a method to be able to talk to them and bring them back to your store. And the simplest and easiest method is email marketing, and it works so well. The problem is, though, getting someone's email address is actually pretty hard because people know the value of the email address, right? So we need to put a few tricks in place to make sure that we capture their email address. And the tried and tested pop-up still works. The reason it might not work for you is the offer or the incentive on that pop-up is wrong, right? So to have the right incentive, we need to make sure that we're attracting the right type of person, which means the incentive needs to attract a person that is thinking about buying. So it needs to be a financial incentive or some sort of valuable incentive. We can't just say, subscribe to our newsletter for updates, because people don't really care about your newsletter. What they care about is buying products from you and solving their problem. So what I want you to think about is, how much would you pay to get a new customer to your store? Like, what's the number? What would you, if you got a $100 product, how much of that $100 are you going to spend to get a customer? Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 30? Get that number right. And then what we're going to do is craft an incentive in our pop-up around that number. So it could be as simple as, here's a $10 voucher. It could be as simple as, here's a 10% discount. Could be, here's free shipping, or get a free gift worth $10. Just think about that number, think about that incentive. And by putting a valuable offer in there that relates to your product, we're going to attract buyers into our list rather than sort of just subscribers. And they're the ones that are going to come back to your store. But what you have to do is you actually have to email those buyers consistently afterwards to get them back. There's no point capturing all these people and not actually doing anything about it. So once you've captured them, make sure that you're sending them emails at least once a week, which leads us into the final non-negotiable fundamental for your Shopify store, which is always plan the second sale first. This is where the real profit actually comes from. And the stores that really take their sales to the moon understand this. They don't make the profit in the first sale. They know that there's going to be lifetime value in the customer. They know that the second, the third, the fourth sale is where the profit comes in, because if they pay to get the customer in that first sale, right? The second and the third sale is all profit because they don't have to pay for them again. They've already paid for them one time. So they engineer their business around repeat purchases. And they think if someone buys this product, what's the next likely product they're going to buy from them? Would they buy the same product again? Would they buy an upgrade to that product? Could they buy a complementary product? Could they buy a product that's similar but in a different category? Could they buy a product for a friend? And they think about this. They think about, if I get this customer in, what am I going to do to get them back? We can use email because we've captured their details. We'll send an email recommending them another product. We'll send them a reminder that their product's expiring or they need a new one or replenishment. They engineer their business for lifetime value, not first-time purchase. And that's the unlock that I've seen every store that scales thinks about. They think about repeat purchase. They think about how many times can I have someone shop with me per year, because it's much easier to sell to an existing customer than to acquire a new one. And we've just gone through that with all the 4 fundamentals. So what you now need to do is think about what is it that we can do to get someone to buy from us again, the same customer to buy from us again. What can we engineer? Can we sell them the same product? Can we upgrade them? What can we actually do? And if you don't have anything in your business, you've got to start thinking about it now, because that's the only way you're going to scale. If you're relying on making money off your first purchase, it's going to get really hard. Marketing is expensive, time's expensive. And if you're selling a product for $100 and you have to acquire a customer for $40, you've only got $60 left over. And that's to run your business and do all the other stuff, right? It's not enough money. We need to make a profit on our second and our third sale. And if you can master that and all the other non-negotiables and fundamentals of Shopify, then you should watch this next video. And it's how to grow your Shopify so fast that it feels illegal.